Hello again. So today we're going to talk about the separation of your online persona, your marketing message, how you present yourself in the public eye versus how you are behind the scenes. Now, not in a bad way. We're not talking about somebody that acts different ways in front of different people in not nefarious, but like in bad ways, negative ways. Like, oh, you should really see what his personality is like when he's alone, or whatever. But this is more about just having a clean separation in terms of understanding what your message has to be and what your marketing has to be, or how you want to develop that versus, how you're actually doing the work. Right? And having conversations with clients and solving problems and all that stuff. I think it's just interesting. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and this kind of came up for a second. And it just I think we just kind of glossed over it, but it really made me think about that. And it was basically, you should see, like when I'm in front of a client solving problems, I'm more technical. Like I bring out my technical toolkit. I'm solving complex problems. I'm talking, website architecture. I'm talking, moving databases and logic and building stuff, So all the technical stuff that if you follow me on the web, maybe there's a hint of it here and there, but for the most part, we're not going there. Our message is very separate from that. Like, you have to decide how you sell what you do, right? I had to kind of figure that out the first few years of my agency. This is the fifth year in my agency. And at this point, we're gelling. We keep gelling. There's always narrowing and kind of adjustments over time. But for the most part, we have a clear message and who we are and how we present ourselves on the web. But I guess, that took time. In the beginning, I actually was leaning further into my kind of free, fun, goofy persona, right? I was even trying TikTok for a while and had, I had built up to, I still have it's private now. You don't need to see it. Don't worry. Don't worry about Matt having a TikTok account. But I had built up to, this is very early on in TikTok. I was an early adopter in the first, that was probably a year or two in. But I was leaning into like the jokes and the just fun, doing lip syncing and all that good stuff. I'd built up to about 5,000 followers and I was just having a good old time, and I was actually leaning into that side of my personality really far, the fun side of Matt, and just having a good time. Like, wow, if I could do this, if I could become known for that fun, hilarious guy on the web, and I could leverage that and do web design or development. I don't know how I made that connection, but eventually I kind of moved out of that a little bit and made that private. But it's out there. I still have those 5,000 followers. I don't know what they're doing today. They're, if it's like other platforms, they're all gone doing other things. But so for the most part, that's kind of something I had to figure out. But even today, if you watch me on these, or if you check out my podcast, the Builders Podcast, even when I have guests on, I'm always kind of carefree and having fun. I try to slip jokes in there. Maybe nobody laughs. There's probably a lot of you that are like my wife that don't find me very funny, and that's okay, right? It's my authentic self. So even when I'm laughing I think, it's important to make yourself laugh too. I think laughing is good for us. It's, that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, but this is who I am, and this is what I lead with. But it's also, of course, we have content that is more serious. We're talking about, how websites and how to build websites and our thoughts around leadership and all this other stuff. But then you got Matt out here that's kind of still got this personality, right? that I've established, that baseline. I'm serious, but you can tell, you should be able to tell that I know what I'm talking about. I'm serious. But that's just what I am. But behind closed doors, right? When I do need to get, like this morning when I'm talking to my team, I'm not talking about these larger concepts, or I joke around a little bit here and there because I want my team to have fun, and I try to get them to laugh as well. But for the most part, though, we're in there solving problems, right? I'm talking this morning about we had an issue where we had one of our client sites, maintenance contracts, where their mobile speed tanked a little bit, and we were trying to solve that problem. My developer was with my QA team is helping out and stuff or whatever, but we're solving that problem, and then I'm discussing that with them. They said this is where we're at now. Should we roll this out? And then I asked, the question, okay, how was that done? Was this a configuration? Is this a coding change? And so I'm diving into that so I can understand what they did. And then we're going to create like a benchmark for this so we can, so I'm going deep into the weeds of technical speak here. And that's not uncommon. I'm seeing, we have last night, I was working on a project and we had gotten an estimate. I was with the help of my team, one of my team members, to get an estimate around what it would take to do a particular website build. Basically, we're building out a store for a manufacturer, and there's a lot to it, a lot of moving pieces. There's APIs involved. There's logic. There's everything you can think of from a store perspective, and all the technical details around that. And then we were trying to scope it out. Okay, well, here's an alternative way to approach this. And we have some middleware thing going on. We have all this. This is all technical stuff that I'm talking with my team. I'm talking with the client or agency partner in this case. I had actually seen him in person. It's one of our local partners. And we were discussing this there and what we might do for the, conversations with the client and what we're going to do. And that is Matt behind the scenes. Now, there may be Matt might slip some laughter, and we were in a meeting with, doing a presentation, and I might slip in a little joke here and there. Okay, that's just Matt, right? I'm still Matt in these instances, or if somebody else cracks a joke, I'm probably going to laugh. But at the same time, in the nitty gritty, when we get down to the bones, to the meat of it, so to the details, Matt is there, being a professional and solving these problems. I take problems seriously. And I think certainly when there's a fire, when there's an issue, website's going down or something's not working, my personality is still going to be there because I enjoy what I do. Okay, so I enjoy solving problems. That's my thing. Like the people that love, solving puzzles and doing all that stuff, that's our thing, right? We like to solve those issues and challenges. And so when we're in the midst of that, this is like our wheelhouse. I had a client just apologize because we had this big problem we're trying to solve around video and and video on their website. We had some issues. We're going through this, and it became this whole thing. It should have been very simple, but it became this whole thing. And he was apologizing on a couple of occasions. Sorry, this is a surprise thing we're doing, and we're having these issues. And I'm like, this is kind of my wheelhouse, though. You don't have to. Number one, you don't have to apologize. This is what we do. This is our thing. We're here to solve problems. But we do that. We do it seriously, but at the same time, we're having fun. And I may, even in those conversations, joke around a little bit or throw an emoticon into the conversation. So that's, but I think there has to be that clear separation. And I think it's a little bit challenging because, and we'll kind of end with this. You have to do it strategically, and you have to do it in a way that's what you don't want to do, like in my case, and something I'm conscious of, like with the TikTok stuff, you have to also know who you're going after. Who is your target market in terms of their sophistication, the size of those companies, the larger companies you get. I was in a room this past week with a company that's worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 million to $1 billion. It's a manufacturer. So that's not manufacturers are of that size. I'm in that room, right? And so you have to know, like, if you want to be in that room, you have to kind of walk that fine line, right? You can't be too crazy, too unprofessional. You have to have that professional side of you too, that people see and can latch onto. So I can have fun, even in that meeting. I can have a little fun, and Matt can be his authentic self. But at the same time, a bulk of it is serious. A bulk of it, when I was in that meeting talking about architecture of their website and doing the discovery process and all this stuff that we're going to do for them, and why we're doing it, what we're looking for, what we're going to need, all that stuff. That's the serious Matt. So if you want to go for those larger accounts, you have to be there. A number of our clients that we work with are multi-million-dollar businesses. Matt gets those. Maybe I could get more if I was more serious. But I'm conscious of that. I want to make sure that in my messaging through that, even in everything that I'm doing, even though I have that personality that wants to have fun and crack jokes and laugh at things, that there's also, because, I'm having fun or whatever, this is what I enjoy doing. But also there's that element of, okay, but when you get on a call with Matt, that changes, and he can be serious. And so separating that marketing, your messaging, your personality, etc., from when you're there to get the job done, and what you are behind the scenes. There should be some kind of, like you said, it's not a negative thing. You're not changing and being somebody else. You're still that person, but you can have that multifaceted kind of approach to things and be successful at it. I think there's a lesson in there. Till next time, take care.